When the teaser for the new season of The Kardashians dropped on Hulu, nobody expected what came next. In a calm, steady voice, Kim Kardashian looked into the camera and said something that made millions of fans stop scrolling. She revealed that doctors had discovered a small brain aneurysm after she underwent a full-body MRI. The internet exploded within minutes. People couldn't believe it. How could someone who seemed to have everything, fame, beauty, money, power, suddenly face something so serious? It wasn't a dramatic confession or a staged reality TV moment. Kim simply said it as if she was still processing the news herself, which made it even more real. Fans rushed to social media with panic and concern, asking if she was okay, while others began researching what a brain aneurysm even meant. But as people tried to make sense of it, one question echoed louder than the rest. What really caused it? Was this just a random medical discovery or the physical result of years of relentless stress, heartbreak, and pressure? A brain aneurysm sounds terrifying, but doctors explain that it's a small bulge in a blood vessel in the brain, often harmless unless it ruptures. Many people live with them without ever knowing. In Kim's case, it was found by chance during an MRI, something she's been publicly promoting as a life-saving tool. For years, she's advocated full-body scans, saying they can catch problems early. But not everyone agrees. Medical experts warn that unnecessary MRIs can lead to anxiety, false alarms, or unneeded treatments. Still, Kim's situation was different. She wasn't just another patient. She was someone living under the microscope of fame. So why did she even go for that scan in the first place? To understand that, you have to go back a few years, to a time when her life looked picture perfect on the outside, but was quietly falling apart on the inside. In 2022, Kim finalized her divorce from Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West. It wasn't just a split, it was a worldwide spectacle. Every detail of their separation, from custody battles to emotional interviews, played out publicly. Ye's online rants, unpredictable behavior, and controversial statements turned Kim's name into a constant headline. She tried to stay silent, to rise above it, but the emotional toll was brutal. She later admitted, "People think I can walk away, but my ex will be in my life no matter what. We have 4 kids together." Behind the glamorous photos and business launches, Kim was navigating single motherhood, public scrutiny, and constant stress. Every move she made was analyzed. Every word she said was judged. The world saw her smile, but not the sleepless nights, the panic, or the exhaustion. Even for someone as composed as Kim Kardashian, that kind of pressure starts to chip away at your peace. Some experts later suggested that extreme stress might have indirectly contributed to her condition. While stress isn't a direct cause of aneurysms, it can raise blood pressure, one of the main risk factors. Reports claimed her doctors hinted that emotional strain could have played a role. Imagine juggling billion-dollar businesses, filming schedules, 4 children, and the emotional aftermath of a very public breakup. Even for someone as resilient as Kim, that kind of chaos eventually takes a toll. But instead of slowing down, she did something no one expected. She reinvented herself. After years of being seen as a reality star and influencer, Kim began studying law. It wasn't a publicity stunt. It was something deeply personal. Her father, Robert Kardashian Sr., had once been part of one of America's most famous trials, and his legacy always stayed with her. She enrolled in California's Law Office Study Program, an intense 6-year journey that allows aspiring lawyers to study under attorneys instead of attending law school. It's one of the hardest routes to becoming a lawyer, but Kim didn't back down. She spent long nights buried in books, memorizing legal terms and studying for exams, often after putting her kids to bed. For her, the law became therapy. It gave her focus. It gave her purpose. And in a world where people were always questioning her depth, this was her answer. She even said recently, "Maybe in 10 years, I'll give up being Kim K and become a trial lawyer." For the first time in her career, it wasn't about fame. It was about fulfillment. But Kim's passion for justice didn't appear out of nowhere. It traces back to one of the darkest moments of her life, the Paris robbery in 2016. That night, she was held at gunpoint, tied up, and robbed of millions in jewelry during Fashion Week. It was a trauma that haunted her for years. The experience shattered her sense of safety and left her terrified of being alone. But over time, it also changed her perspective. It made her realize how fragile life is, how quickly everything can be taken away. Years later, Kim returned to Paris, not as a victim, but as a witness. In 2025, she testified in court against the so-called grandpa robbers, the elderly gang accused of orchestrating the theft. Standing in front of the same justice system that once represented her father's legacy, Kim found strength in vulnerability. It was another turning point, a moment when she turned fear into purpose. That passion for justice now drives her legal studies, but ironically, while she was focused on helping others, her own body was signaling that something wasn't right. When she mentioned her aneurysm diagnosis on the Kardashians, she also said doctors believed it might have been brought on by stress. Medical professionals clarified that while stress isn't usually a direct trigger, it can worsen blood pressure-related conditions. For Kim, that comment struck a nerve. It wasn't about science, it was about symbolism. Her body had finally said what her mind had been trying to ignore for years, that the pressure had gone too far. As the clip spread online, public reaction was immediate. Hashtags like #PrayForKim and #KimKHealthScare began trending across social media. Fans flooded her Instagram comments with support and concern. Some called her brave for speaking openly about health, while others accused her of turning a medical scare into reality TV content. Even doctors joined the conversation, warning against unnecessary MRI scans just because celebrities endorsed them. But beneath all the noise, something deeper was happening. People began talking about stress, how it hides behind filtered photos, brand deals, and picture-perfect lives. Kim's confession had stripped away the illusion of perfection. For the first time, she wasn't the untouchable business mogul. She was just a woman facing her limits. Since then, Kim seems to be moving differently. Those close to her describe her as calmer and more grounded. She's still running multiple businesses, still studying law, and still raising 4 kids. But her priorities appear to have shifted. Instead of chasing perfection, she's chasing peace. There are rumors she's considering pivoting full-time into criminal justice reform once she passes the bar exam. She's already helped advocate for prison reform and clemency cases, using her influence to amplify stories most people overlook. This version of Kim Kardashian feels different, less about luxury, more about legacy. She's no longer just the woman who broke the internet. She's the woman who's rebuilding herself piece by piece. The brain aneurysm revelation wasn't just another dramatic moment for TV. It was a reminder that fame doesn't shield anyone from fear, pain, or burnout. Even the strongest people have breaking points. And sometimes the real power isn't in pretending everything's fine. It's in admitting that it isn't. Looking back, Kim's journey feels like a full circle. From a young woman thrust into fame to a mother, survivor, and soon-to-be lawyer. Every chapter of her life has been shaped by resilience. She's been robbed, ridiculed, divorced, and now faced with her own mortality. Yet, every time the world writes her off, she returns stronger, more focused, and more human. In a strange way, that tiny aneurysm might have done something no scandal or headline ever could. It forced Kim Kardashian to slow down and see what really matters. It reminded her and everyone watching that the mind and body can only take so much before they demand to be heard. And maybe, just maybe, that's the message she wanted to send. That even when you're at the top of the world, you still need to take care of yourself. Because behind the makeup, behind the empire, behind the endless spotlight, there's a woman who's finally learning how to breathe again. Thanks for watching, and stay connected for more stories that uncover the truth behind the headlines, right here on Fame Canvas.